Thanks for joining us again on GB Guns, whether you're on Rumble or on the second channel over on YouTube. It's the end of the year, and you know what that means. It's time for wrap-ups and top lists. But instead of doing the classic top whatever influencer stuff, I figured we'd celebrate you guys. Today we're going over the top 5 Reader's Choice. These are articles from GBGuns Depot. Almost said it. YouTube will kill me for that. These are articles from my website that got the most views in 2024. So let's take a look at what's most popular. I'm curious to hear from you guys if you were one of the readers and or what you think about these top 5. If you disagree with them, well, maybe you were looking at the wrong articles. Let's get into it. At number 1 was the Derya Arms Melik, or Melik, which I've now learned means king. Slowly starting to learn some Turkish words thanks to these guns. This is a Gen 3 Glock clone with some updates to it. I was excited to see it on the US market because I had seen it at some of the trade shows, it just nobody had bothered to import it. What is special or different about it? Modern ergonomics, overall modern features, not optics ready yet, but very well constructed, a dual spring recoil system. And though it has these crayon-sized, mega large fiber optic sights that made printing a group a little bit challenging because they were larger than the 1-inch square that I normally group on at 7 yards, they also make for great instinctive sights. And for a defensive gun, that's a good thing. Now, instinctive is a term that gets abused. I just abused it there too. What I mean is, easy to acquire, rapid acquisition. And if you saw my Glock Multiverse wrap-up, this gun, despite having a heavier trigger than all the other ones, actually did best for me. And I think a big part of that was that it was very quick and easy for me to hop on the sights of these and get going. That and trigger weight really doesn't matter. It only matters if you're going to distribute or apply so much force with your trigger finger that it's going to shift the firearm in your hand. That can be overcome with skill. It can also be overcome a little bit with ergonomics. Ergonomics, speaking of, on this, the front strap is so flat, it feels like you're holding a furring strip. The texture is decent. There's really nothing super magical about this gun, aside from the fact that it's less than half the cost of what it's cloning and offers some improvements over that now 30-year-old design. The magwell on here for me was a big savior. Any of you guys with large hands like myself, that means no pinky pinch when reloading. I can go as forceful as I want because this magwell keeps the pinky finger out of the way nice and safe. Overall, pretty good gun. I think it was popular because it's such an incredible value. You guys tell me what you think made it popular, and if you're one of the people who picked one of these up. For a while, they were available under $2, just barely, but under $2, which is an incredible bargain for something that is effectively a Glock 19. The second most popular article was the Canik TTI Combat. This is a Terran Tactical edited, if you will, version of the Canik. There was a lot of misnomers out there. Some of it was marketing, which, although I'm friends with Canik USA, sorry guys, it's not compensated. This is not a compensator. It looks like one, but the barrel is ported, and that's even better in my opinion. Though ported barrels cost you some velocity, we've got plenty of barrel length here. This device on the end is really a muzzle weight, and it helps direct some of that blast. Check the article. I've got close-up photos of all this. I even ran the gun with and without this thing on here to try to feel the difference. And that muzzle weight helps control against muzzle flip all the more. Other improvements were more aggressive serrations, a much more aggressive texture on the grip. Trigger feels about the same, maybe a touch lighter, but it's an excellent trigger to begin with. I've got the Canik MO3 mounted on here. Nice big dot, nice big window, an easy gun to really rock and roll with. And one of the neat tricks that I think they did here is we have effectively kind of the SFX length, total length of the slide up here, but the slide itself is shorter to allow that compensator on there. The slide itself is kind of somewhere around the SF, SFT level, but what that did, in addition with these window cuts and deep serrations, is reduce your reciprocating mass. And so you have less mass going back and forth to control. That's part of your recoil. Then we've got a nice healthy port in the barrel and a muzzle weight on the end, and the end result is a very flat shooting gun that begs to be shot quickly. It is a fun piece. Let me know what your thoughts were on this if you picked one of these up. When these were released, they sold above MSRP for, I don't know, 4 months, maybe 6 months. I've just now seen them finally start to drop down below. Pretty incredible. Way to go, Canik, to go from, I mean, when I started making these videos 9 years ago, Canik was kind of mocked as the budget Walther clone, and nobody took it seriously, and it was just kind of this cheap import thing. And now Canik has their own formula, their own designs, and a Terran tactical version of the gun that is pretty spectacular. And that budget gun that was mocked 10 years ago is now something that has had launches sell above MSRP for several months in a row. I think that's pretty impressive. Third place was the Walther PDP Match Polymer. Now, this was technically a 2023 article. I published it December 30th, though, so it's kind of unfair. It wasn't going to do well for either, and it got so many views that I wrapped it into 2024. Walther's 5-inch guns and competition guns seem to have always been popular, and with these match guns, previously the steel ones got all the attention. This time the polymer one did, and I think part of that is there are folks who prefer a slightly lighter gun overall, and the other bit was you're getting effectively almost the same thing as the match steel for a lot less money by going with a polymer frame. The ergonomics and the traction are already awesome enough on Walther's frames, and with this long 5-inch barrel and these holes cut through the slide, which I thought was a very tasteful way. They just basically kept the same serrations that were used there and kept on cutting to remove weight off the nose to help reduce that dip there. It's optics ready. It still comes with the same basic polymer sights that Walther's been doing lately, but I think in the age of everyone wanting a dot, especially on a competition gun, that was an okay way to help reduce price. In addition to that, you got this nice aluminum magwell, which tucks the hand up nicely, and of course Walther's dynamic performance trigger. Overall, a very good value for a high quality competition ready 5-inch gun. I wasn't surprised to see this one do well. It was just kind of interesting to see it do better than the steel. Maybe because people were comparing it against the Canik now? I don't know. Tell me what you guys think. Number 4 was another Derya. I tell you, Derya came out strong. I hadn't heard of them prior to 2024, and their two pistols both placed well, and not just Reader's Choice, but in other ranking lists as well. The Derya Arms, sorry, this is the Melik. I called the other one, the DY9, the Melik. My bad. This is basically a Beretta 92 FS, decocker and safety model reproduction. Now, that on the surface level wasn't too exciting because I had played with and reviewed other Turkish Beretta 92 clones or Beretta 92 spin-offs that I didn't like so much. This thing, however, just the fit, the finish, the slide, like the trigger action, everything about it just so smooth. Really nicely built gun that is quite affordable, and I think very handsome in the two-tone here with the walnut grips. I did have the roll pin on that right side safety try to walk on me a little bit. I tapped back in with a roll pin punch. It hasn't come back out since, but I also haven't spent a whole lot of range time with it since. That's the downfall to reviewing so many guns, is typically, if I have the time and the weather to get out to the range, I've got to film some of the new stuff that's come in. It's this constant race, but that's how I provide you guys with about 50 handgun reviews a year. It's a breakneck pace, but it's what I got to do. Back onto the Melik, the King. Really nice pistol. It allows you to have a Beretta 92 FS without the Beretta price tag, I believe, and some of you please report if you guys have messed with it, because I always leave my review guns factory as possible. I believe there's a lot of parts interchange. Some of the commenters on the video commented that this has the upgraded locking block, not the original 92 locking block, which was known to be prone to cracking, and I remember that from my days in the Army when we had the M9. which is basically an FS, those having to be replaced and things. So overall, a handsome gun, a nice piece to shoot, and it was just really, really comfortable on the range. The weight, of course, this open top slide design means you've got minimal slide weight, reciprocating, that helps with recoil. It's just an overall a really fun piece. Like it looks good, it shoots well, and it didn't cost a lot to have. Very cool gun to have. Let me know if any of you guys picked up on the Melik. Even though it was a mid-year release, the SIG P365 Fuse rounds out our top 5 from Reader's Choice, and I don't blame them. You know, the micro compacts, for me, have always been a little bit too small. I understand the reason for their existence. I understand why people like them, especially if you're new to carrying and you're either unaware of or don't care about the compromise of a smaller, thinner gun on the range in exchange to have something that's easier to conceal. Again, when you're new to carrying concealed and you haven't adopted your wardrobe and lifestyle around it yet, or maybe you're not that dedicated to it yet, the smaller guns are so much easier to introduce to your existing lifestyle than something bigger. With the Fuse, we took it to full size. We got a 4.3 inch barrel and we got a 17 round magazine. This was also when SIG announced their fully enclosed micro dot. I was fortunate enough to get one in for review and really, really liked it. It's still a bit on the thin side for me, just because I have large hands, but I'd have no problem spending a whole day on the range, minus loading micro compact pattern magazines is never a lot of fun. So if I was going to do like a high round count course, I'd have to think hard about that one. I did, however, buy holsters and buy extra mags. I had intended to take this to a course in November when I suddenly had the opportunity to go to Finland instead. So do you blame me for not getting training? I mean, Finland or a training course? Yeah, I went to Finland. But whole hand grip, more than necessary barrel length. Remember, SAMI spec in the US is 4 inches for 9mm, so most of your ammo is designed and loaded to perform from a 4-inch barrel. Going shorter, you risk it not going fast enough. Going longer, you could risk excessive velocity, causing maybe a jacket to shed or something like that, but I'll take that over underperforming and a hollow point not opening up. This is a carryable gun that is also very comfy for the range and for training with, and something that you can practice on the range with and train with that you also carry. That's a winning combination. So I think SIG did a great job with the Fuse. And just a reminder, since it somehow still hasn't caught on, it is a modular setup. If you have an existing P365 of any sort in 9mm, all you need is the grip and the slide, and you can convert your existing one to this without getting another gun. Sometimes that's cheaper than getting a complete other gun. This was a bit pricey compared to the other 365s. However, I think it's much more versatile, and that kind of warrants it. Plus, there is a lot more material, and there's more machine work on the more material to do this. I have had some viewers question the polymer guide rod that came with it instead of steel like on the others. I don't know why they did that. I have yet to see a polymer guide rod break. I'm not too concerned, but this one has the DPM system in it, making it shoot extra soft, especially when I slap one of the other grip modules on. So 365 is pretty fun, and the Fuse is an awesome setup. That was the 2024 GBGuns Reader's Choice Awards, the top 5 guns out of the 50 or so that were reviewed in 2024. There will also be a video on the viewer's choice for those who don't read too well. And of course, you'll also get Graham's picks. If you're curious or want to learn more about any of these, head on over to my website. That article's already at this point been live for a couple weeks. If you've missed out on it, sign up for the mailing list, please. I don't use it for spamming stuff. I don't use it for marketing. I don't sell it. That mailing list is purely so that you know when something comes out. If you haven't caught on yet, the article's published before the videos do. So that's where the cutting edge, I guess you could say, is. The only people who know anything before that are the patrons, who of course get first dibs on everything because they're helping financially support the channel. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for reading, and let's all have a better 2020.
GBGuns Jr. Thanks for the tip level. David P. Creels, God Slayer, Andrew B. Lee, A. Christopher JJS, On and Grind Fog, Triple Michael W. David G. Okintuber Fredo, Robert B. Ohio Crumpler, Steve O. Briscoe County, George Rich, Rachel Red Scott, Waha NC, Fear 76, Uncle Muncie. David F. Allen B. Lord P. Interesting. Keeping things on his level, Gary B. Lakevest, Daniel D. N.C. J. Alan J. Brad M. George H. Chuckle M. Edward D. Adrian H. Cody W. Mark S. Sucho Drew Lewis R. Edit P. Gary C. J. E. Logan G. Brian K. R.E.M. D. 2022 A. Gil B. Ron C. Gordon Mike and C. Techno Connor 17. CJ Ronald L.W. Russ B. Marvin T. Tattoo Johnny G. B. Sing 1986.